You are looking live at the protest in support of USAID underway right now on Capitol Hill. Now, Elon Musk and DOGE are currently gutting the agency of what the White House is calling waste and abuse. Now, it's panicking some Democratic lawmakers who joined the protesters yesterday over the administration's efficiency efforts.
And we will win! 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 We won't rest! We won't rest! We won't rest!
No one elected Elon Musk to nothing.
That's right.
Not one Democrat in America voted for Elon Musk.
What we're not going to do is stand around while they pull this bullshit. We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your.
We will see you in the courts, in Congress, in the streets. Elon Musk is a Nazi nutball baby.
Every movement needs a scrappy little and I am that person. I need each and every one of you to get in touch with your inner scrappy little.
Nobody elected your. This is not Elon Musk's country.
Take your foot off my neck.
We are at war.
Well, that was crazy. I mean, maybe they should get back to authoring that 2024 postmortem, but at least for the time being, Chuck Schumer dropped the avocado and the beer he used as props in his previous protest. You know, Harris, they're apoplectic, but here is what we really should be angry about. Wall Street Journal. Some USAID spending may undermine U.S. interests. An analysis by the Middle East Forum says $164 million of this money has supported radical organizations around the world. Listen to this. 122 million of that aid was going to groups aligned with foreign terrorist organizations. Protest that.
Well, and some of it, no doubt, would have been going to covering that up. Because apparently, I guess it wasn't on the front sign when you walk through the door at USAID organizations. Look, I don't think that we're shocked that money was flowing in that direction or for ridiculous other things that we see, that one being dangerous and ridiculous. But I do find it weird that so many people are rattled by an audit. Mm-hmm. Don't you forensically look at your own checkbook every now and then? And even if it's digital, now you just go online. You don't even have to keep notes anymore. It's laid to bear, and anybody who has your password can look at it too. I'm confused why those people who want to wage war on finding out the truth about where American dollars are going are so offended and threatening, and it sounds like they're threatening violence. I mean, that's how I read it. I don't know how anybody else reads. We're at war. I mean, you know, Maxine Waters bringing that back from Get in Their Faces. Remember when she said that? She was in that crowd as well, by the way. I mean, all of this is more than just offensive. I don't know. It looks insightful to me. It looks like a dangerous problem. And why? Because, yeah, we want to count the money that you're in favor of spending. Because maybe we need an audit. We just need to look at the books. Can you imagine if we found some bad stuff? What would they cry? Wage war?
Yeah, and let's talk about some of that bad stuff. Because, look, USAID, as we've talked about, does some good stuff. And Marco Rubio, who is acting administrator, wants to preserve that good stuff, like money for PEPFAR kids in Africa. But the bad stuff is what we're after, Paul. Take a look at this. Again, best summation I've seen. So we gave you the top line figure going to terrorist organizations. Well, let's drill down. Senator Cotton warning about money to Hamas, Syrian national charged with diverting millions to al-Nusra Front, terrorism. The list goes on. The Wuhan Institute of Virology. What is the problem with ending this?
There's no problem, of course. And as Harris points out, their reaction, we used to call this in law enforcement, a clue. Of course they're freaking out because this is their slush fund, and this is how that they've been agenting the NGOs to do their bidding. This is all stuff that they couldn't do under official cover, right?
That's right.
So they're cutting out to the NGOs, and the NGOs are doing their bidding. Here's where I would go with this. We just got Pam Bondi confirmed, right? Here's your first remit. Throw a squad, take a public corruption squad, and throw it at USAID. Go on the offensive. Don't be on the defensive because these people are ranting and raving. Go in there and let's find out how cognizantly it was done to subvert American policy, because that's criminal. Because if you are agenting somebody, you own that. That's black letter law. So if I'm sitting where Pam Bondi is, and more power to her, get in there, start pulling the weeds apart, and see who directed this stuff. I go back to the IRS thing. Remember Lois Lerner? We all forget about that. She's enjoying her pension someplace. Let's go at this thing the way it should be done, criminally, and let's see if they still keep yelling when we start to see what's under those rocks.
Exactly.
Yeah, and in the meantime, ignore the noise. And we can't do a segment about noise without bringing in Joe Scarborough, so let's bring him in.
The world's richest man go in and say he's going to basically tear this organization to the ground, not only will cause immeasurable suffering across the globe, it also will put us in a strategic disadvantage. This is strategic. What he's talking about doing is, I'm sorry, it is stupid.
What's happening right now is a hostile takeover of the U.S. government.
If this were happening in any other country right now, I promise you, I'd be on the air calling it a coup.
A coup or a terrorism funding case?
That's right. And the irony to your point here is you're calling a coup an audit of my dollars, of their dollars? Every income of this government comes from us, from their salaries. So the notion of the downright shock and horror at the concept of cleaning house and ensuring your tax dollars are being stewarded wisely for goals of the American institution, for our republic, but also for the betterment of Americans, this apoplectic response is so hilarious to me because it shows you that all they care about is the control and the comfort, the sedation of having a certain amount of money just automatically deposited in and not having any idea where the origin comes from. The nexus between us funding terrorism is absolutely horrifying, and people like Sarah Adams, former CIA targeter, have been for quite some time sounding the alarm about how deeply we have funded and continue to fund these horrific threats which have targeted and killed Americans. So we know we full-blown under the prior administration, fly cash to the tune of $43 to $87 million per week to Kabul. We also pay the Taliban's political overhead funding, $10 million a month, dropped off to Qatar. These expenses are funding, again, the terrorism that comes full-throated back to American soil in the formerly porous southern border, and it absolutely threatens Americans' lives. So the concept that the Democrats are out there crying and screaming and waving around fruit is so despicable, and I hope this stays through the midterms again. Keep it up, because we need to understand how deeply people like Elon Musk and President Trump have Americans' interests and safety in mind.
And you know, we're 3 weeks into the administration, and the same old games are at play. In fact, this just happened, so we want to pull this up. This was on Capitol Hill. Oversight Democrats just moved to subpoena Elon Musk. The motion failed 19-20, with Congressman Ro Khanna notably abstaining from the vote. Ro Khanna said, I would have voted yes. So subpoenaing Elon Musk seems to be the next step, Lily.
Well, all of a sudden, accountability and transparency became dirty words. It's very strange. And, you know, in the private sector, we don't do this. We also are always holding accountable corporations and board directors and shareholders. And it's earnings season right now. All these questions are happening to private organizations. We are the funders of the U.S. Treasury, as Emily was saying. It is our money. So you're going to go after the person that wants to check where is it that we're being responsible or not as good stewards of the American people's money. So I like that we're leading by example at the top. Government show everybody, private and public sector, how we need to run efficiently with the big responsibility they have in Washington to invest. Let's look at it like a business. Invest properly our hard-earned tax dollars. We do it for the private sector. Why is it so bad now for the public sector?
Yeah, they wanted to defund our protection, the police on the left. Maybe we want to defund some areas through USAID that are not good for the country. They don't help our bottom line because they fund terrorists, some of that money.
Iris, I made these kinds of cases, and let me just say that if you had as direct a line between the funding mechanism to the leaders of Hamas and then 7 October, everybody's in a grand jury.
Yeah, wow.
Yes.
Look, it's very simple. Preserve the money for the children in Africa. Excise the money that are going to terrorist groups. How is that difficult to understand?